This is the Kia EV6, a new electric car promising ridiculous performance, interesting styling, and super fast charging. We're telling you everything you need to know about it, including pricing and trim details. But before we start, go to whatcar.com to get a great deal on your next new car, and subscribe to our channel to see our review of the EV6 as soon as we've driven it. Kia really shook up the EV market when it launched the e-Niro a few years ago. With a very impressive real-world range and a reasonable price tag to go with it, it proved EVs you were actually able to live with didn't have to cost the earth to buy. The Kia Soul EV was a similarly impressive effort released after that. So could the Korean manufacturer be about to move the game on once more for electric cars? Well, similar to the e-Niro and Soul, it would be doing so with the help of Hyundai. The two manufacturers worked closely together and used similar underpinnings, batteries and electric motors for the e-Niro and Kona Electric. Now, the two manufacturers have created a new shared architecture for the next generation of their EVs to use. We've already seen and driven the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and this EV6 is very closely related to that car. The styling is very different though. The EV6 takes influence from Kia's 2019 Imagine concept car, but the overall silhouette has evolved to give a lower, less SUV stance, similar to the Ioniq 5. In terms of styling details, Kia says the EV6 sports a digital tiger face, which is an evolution of the tiger nose grille seen on its other fuel-powered cars. The EV6 has daytime running lights and dynamic indicators, as well as a low air intake at the front. It has quite a striking side profile too. There's a character line which runs along the bottom of the doors, curving up towards the rear wheel arches, while some gloss black by the C-pillar gives a kind of floating roof look. At the rear, there's a massive curving light bar and a subtle roof spoiler. The styling is said to have inspired the new Kia Sportage as well, which has just been revealed by the manufacturer. So what do you think? Does the EV6 look better than the Ioniq 5? Let us know in the comments below. Inside, the car has a minimalist layout. There's a 12.3-inch digital instrument panel in front of the driver, as well as a separate 12.3-inch infotainment screen, which is angled slightly towards the driver. The climate controls are accessed via a touch-sensitive panel on the dashboard, but there are also small dials to quickly change the temperature. Parts of the interior, including the front seats, are said to be made from recycled materials, and like the Ioniq 5, the driver's seat reclines all the way back and leg supports appear from under the seat, so you can have a nap while charging. It has a big 520-litre boot with no loading lip, and that's one of the bigger boots in the class, if not quite so big as the 540-litre Ioniq 5. There's also a 52-litre space under the bonnet to store your charging cables. But if you go for a four-wheel drive model, then that's reduced by 20 litres. But what is this car up against? Well, it sits above the e-Niro and Soul EV in Kia's lineup, and obviously one of its main competitors is fairly close to home in the shape of the Ioniq 5. But it's also against other large electric cars like the VW ID4, Mustang Mach-E, Skoda Enyaq, and the Tesla Model Y and Model 3. The EV6's specs are pretty impressive compared to those rivals too. Entry-level models are powered by a single 222 brake horsepower electric motor driving the rear wheels. Energy comes from a 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery, giving the EV6 a range of 316 miles, which is a little bit further than the 282 miles you get from the Kia e-Niro. There is also the option of going for four-wheel drive versions, with two electric motors producing a combined 321 brake horsepower. And at the top of the lineup, there will be a performance-focused EV6 GT. This model gets 577 brake horsepower from its dual electric motors and can cover 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 3.5 seconds, which is quicker than the Porsche Taycan 4S. And it's not just pace that impresses with the EV6. Like the Ioniq 5, it supports charging of up to 220 kilowatts and can go from a 10 to 80% battery capacity in just 18 minutes. But that's from the fastest public chargers, of which there are not many. So while it's impressive to have that capability, you won't be able to make much use of it just yet. But for the record, an ID4 can be charged at a rate of up to 125 kilowatts, and the Mustang Mach-E up to 150 kilowatts. So a similar 10 to 80% charge for them at their fastest speeds will take almost double the time of the EV6. But More likely, they'll all end up charging at the 50 kilowatt chargers you get at motorway service stations, and they'll all take pretty much the same amount of time to charge. Prices start at £40,895 in the UK for the EV6 in entry-level form, and that gets you 19-inch alloys, heated front seats and automatic emergency braking, which can detect pedestrians and cyclists. It gets a decent amount of kit and keeps the price down, so this looks likely to be the sensible pick of the lineup. But you can go up to GT line, and from there you get the choice of rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, as well as a vegan leather interior and those reclining seats. Then there's GT Line S, which gets heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, an augmented reality head-up display and 20-inch alloys. But for almost £52,000 in the four-wheel drive version, it certainly isn't cheap. Topping the lineup is the EV6 GT, and although pricing hasn't been announced, it will be more expensive still and gets 21-inch alloys, bucket seats, a limited slip differential and a heat pump. Even in its entry-level form, it's not cheap, and one thing that makes the EV6 look a little expensive compared to rivals is the fact it won't be offered with cheaper versions that have smaller batteries at launch. Plus, none of the EV6s you buy will be eligible for the UK government's £2,500 plug-in grant. But the pricing is still broadly in line with the big battery versions of the Mustang Mach-E, ID.4 and Ioniq 5. The EV6 is also just the start of some bold electrification plans from Kia. It plans to launch a further 6 EVs by 2026, all named EV followed by a number. So expect the EV6 to be followed by smaller and larger fully electric Kias very soon. So will this really change the game for electric cars in the same way that e-Niro did? Well, it's maybe still a bit too expensive to have a huge mainstream impact. But at the very least, it looks like an EV which has the potential to offer strong competition to its impressive rivals in the class. For more on the EV6 and every other car on sale, go to whatcar.com. On our website, you can also save thousands of pounds off your next new car. Just browse through our savings there or search for What Car Deals to find out more. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, tell us what you think of the EV6 in the comments below, and please hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and then you can see all of our latest new car reviews as soon as they go live.